And childcare is becoming an issue and priority for a growing number of businesses here in the North Country. The Chamber of Commerce surveys 4,000 businesses across the North Country and Adirondacks every year. And no surprise, the production and delivery of the COVID vaccine is at the top of the list for most businesses this year. A COVID relief bill with aid for state and local governments and reopening the U.S.-Canadian border crossings are also priorities. On the state level, filling broadband and cell phone service gaps is the number one issue. We sat down with the Chamber's Garry Douglas to talk about the survey and the impact COVID and the border closing have had on North Country businesses. Trucking, cross-border business, essential traffic like healthcare workers, they've been allowed to continue crossing the border during the pandemic. But closing off the border to visitors, tourists, seasonal home and boat owners, what impact has that had on the region, on businesses and on the North Country?
Well, first I want to say that it's been extremely important for this area, given its manufacturing links with Quebec in particular, Canada generally, that commercial activity hasn't been interrupted whatsoever. That has made it possible for the manufacturing sector here in the North Country to avoid interruptions. Virtually all of our manufacturing here stayed open throughout the pandemic as essential. Could not have done that if it had just been said, well, you're essential, but oh, sorry, there's an interruption in your supply chains from Quebec, or the other way around. So that's been absolutely critical. The tourism and hospitality sectors in the region have taken a hit, in part from restrictions at the border, in part from a hit on travel and vacations. You can't go to Vermont. Interestingly, Lake Placid and many areas of the Adirondacks had their best season ever, because the loss of travelers from Pennsylvania, or international travelers, was largely made up for many places by downstaters from the city and the metro area who wanted to get the heck out of the metro area and come up and visit the Adirondacks and the clean air and the mountains. Those kind of help make up for it in some areas. Now, there are some that you just can't escape. The marinas on Lake Champlain. 90% more in some cases of the boats belong to Canadians, and they can't get here to their boats. The boats never went in the water.
We also talk about whether U.S.-Canada relations may improve with the new administration, and if having New York Senator Chuck Schumer as the new Senate Majority Leader will help direct COVID relief to the state, municipalities, and mass transit systems, which in turn could benefit the North Country's transportation industry. You can watch our full interview with Garry Douglas on our website. Many of those businesses usually gather this time of winter to hear political leaders outline their priorities for the year. But with the pandemic, the state of the county, city, and town went virtual this year, and a lot of the focus was on the impact COVID is having on the region.
I stood before you this time last year and predicted that 2020 could very well be a banner year for our county and our region. Then the pandemic struck in March. Economically, it hurt Clinton County very badly. We were at that time predicting a potential 20% reduction in sales tax revenue, nearly $8 million to this county alone. First and foremost, we must continue to focus on the pandemic and ramping up of vaccine distribution. This is the key to our region's success. We must work to bring tourism back to levels even higher than before the pandemic, and to do what we must to get our border open as quickly and as safely as possible.
Mark Henry hopes the border can reopen soon so that Canadians can once again fly out of Plattsburgh. Their ticket fees help the county pay off the $55 million expansion of the airport terminal. Town Supervisor Michael Cashman said the town of Plattsburgh continues to grow, with plans for new housing and several new businesses opening during the past year, despite the pandemic. And Plattsburgh's new mayor, Chris Rosenquist, talked about developing plans for City Beach and the Harborside section of the downtown on the lakefront. You can watch the full State of the County, City, and Town on our website at mountainlake.org.